Welcome back, folks. If you're expecting better news today than yesterday, I hate to disappoint you, but Jew haters in Spain want to throw Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in jail, even as Muslims set fire to Europe all around them. Western nations swarming with potential Muslim terrorists realize too late what fools they've been. What do Nigerians know that Americans and Europeans don't? And why diseased and disgraced pop culture icon Charlie Sheen must be named Time Magazine's next person of the year. My name is Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr and in the book Riell Truth, Stay Angry. And of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM. The Lion. Our call-in number is 877-254-7524. My friends, let's start with showbiz. Item from the Associated Press, Dateline, New York. Former Two and a Half Men star Charlie Sheen has HIV. In an interview Tuesday, that's today on NBC's Today Show, the 52-year-old actor said he tested positive for the virus that causes AIDS about 4 years ago, but that, thanks to a rigorous drug regimen, he's healthy. His escapades also included the revelation that he spent more than $50,000 as a client of Hollywood Madam Heidi Fleiss's prostitution ring, unquote. My friends, if you have followed Charlie Sheen's life and career over the last decade or two, first of all, you should have had something better to do. That's number one. Number two, I see Sheen as a perfect metaphor for everything that's wrong with America. He's all about sex, drugs, rock and roll, and having a good time, right? Just like America. If it feels good, no matter what it is, do it. Just like America. Don't worry about the consequences of your actions. That's for other people. Just like America. Don't worry how many lives you destroy in the process of having fun. Just like America. Money makes everything better. He may have AIDS, but at least he's rich, right? That's the way we think. And Americans venerate celebrities even if they are human garbage. Like Charlie Sheen. My friends, I could give you a long sermon. Who wants to hear a sermon? I could give you a long sermon about Charlie Sheen and the choices he made and the choices Americans make every single day. Suffice it to say this. I've said on this show many times, we live in a hyper-sexualized culture. Sex is what's on our mind because it's constantly being flashed into our eyeballs by the media. Sex on TV, sex in the movies, sex in commercials, sex in ads, sex in songs. You can't get away from it, which would be bad enough, except it's infecting our children, too. That's why, God help us, we've got 12 and 13-year-old girls showing up pregnant. That's why I did a story on this show a couple of months ago about kids in a classroom in a school in a closet having sex. That's why we had a teacher in the news giving a lap dance in the classroom to a student. It is absolutely crazy. It is as destructive as acid. And it's all brought to a head by idiots like Charlie Sheen. I don't have any sympathy for Charlie Sheen. He was born into a show business family, father a famous actor, born wealthy, born privileged, given all the breaks, wonderful career, all the money and the fame and the adulation, all the women you could hope for. And he was still restlessly running around paying hookers, having sex with anything that moved, taking drugs, drinking heavily. And this is the shambles that so much of America is today. We just want to have a good time. That's all we want. Is that bad? Well, yeah, if that's all you want, that's bad. Nothing wrong with having a good time. Don't destroy yourself. Don't destroy your family. And don't destroy society. Is that too much to ask? Because it didn't used to be too much to ask of the average American. But today we've gotten so smart and so sophisticated, those rules don't apply to us anymore, right? Ask Charlie Sheen. Item from the Associated Press, Dateline, Washington. House Speaker Paul Ryan called Tuesday for a pause in Syrian refugees coming to the U.S. in the wake of the Paris attacks. And stop! My friends, there are times I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Sometimes, if I'm lucky, I can do both at the same time. You know, it doesn't take an awful lot of intelligence, which is good because I haven't got an awful lot. All it takes is some good old common sense and being grounded in reality to see that this business of importing Muslims, whether they're from Syria or any place else, is poison. While the politicians are the best and the brightest, they certainly know better than we do. Barack Obama, the Messiah, certainly knows better than we do. And so he has said about bringing in hundreds of thousands, if not millions of third world Muslims from all around the world. Congress, including people like Paul Ryan, stood around with their heads up their asses and did nothing. And now that we see the wanton destruction taking place across Europe, now that we see bodies littering a concert hall in France, now that we see cities here groaning as the first Muslims arrive, now that we see people in Minnesota talking about the Sudanese and how they're laying waste to their cities, now that the horses are out of the barn, so to speak, now the best and the brightest among us, Paul Ryan and the others, and governors in various states, now they come to the conclusion that maybe it's not such a wonderful idea to bring not so many and not so fast. Hang on a second. Let's take a look at this. They are tragedies, every bit as much in their way as Charlie Sheen. They don't see any further than the next news cycle, the next election. That's all they see. It's all they want to see. They don't listen to anyone except their major donors. If America goes to hell, that's okay because they've got theirs. They are, almost without exception, multimillionaires. Every perk in the world. That's why they care about the average slob. Well, I am one of those average slobs. And I, no genius, have been telling you for years that we need to quarantine Islam. We need to quarantine Muslims. Instead, we've been doing just the opposite, with predictable results. So, if House Speaker Paul Ryan or any of the other hyper geniuses in D.C. decide they want to do a righteous job for America, guys, you can reach me through KHNC. It's Tuesday. It's Riell Truth. I'll be back. Where else am I going to go? Stay tuned.
We know how the government is out of control. Who are the point of people in it? How can we, the people, bring it back to the people's service? Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies reminds everyone the chance of involvement in an auto accident rises dramatically with the consumption of alcohol or use of drugs. Please think before you drive. Don't let drugs or alcohol ruin your life or take the lives of others. You are responsible for your own safety as well as the safety of those around you. This message from Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies. For information on their services, call 970-484-7981. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit, whether they are God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. Like as you will know the Spirit of God, every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things
Back in business. The name is Howard Riell. The name of the show is Riell Truth. I got to tell you, I'm reading a book. I just got it yesterday. I'm already almost halfway through it. Donald Trump's new book, Crippled America, How to Make America Great Again. No, I'm not getting a penny for publicizing the book. I seem to find a whole bunch of things for which I don't get paid. However, I like the book because Trump brings common sense and logic to the national discourse, something that is in short supply, and that's why he's my candidate for president. Now, I'm going to throw it over to Fox News via the Israel Video Network. We got, hang on one second. I think I got a caller on the line. Do we have a caller? Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm just fine, thanks. Oh, hang on one second. Wrong button. What's going on, Brian?
I think I got some feedback here. I just, what is going on? I got a voice on my mind. But, we here in Northern Colorado, it's my attention that we're supposed to get, I think, thousands of these Syrian refugees relocated up into Northern Colorado. I think.
Lucky you.
I think 24 of the governors of the United States have signed a petition saying that they want these refugees. Of course, ours is got no spine and right in the pocket of the administration. So we're apparently going to accept these. And, another thing I really got to the point, it's just so frustrating. Another thing I heard is that, I don't have a problem taking Syrian refugees, but I heard that if they're Christian, they're not allowed to come here.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Can you say high treason?
Oh, I can say it. In fact, I've said it many times. Can you say it?
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's like, and I heard that, you can call the government, but I heard it's a homeland security thing, and there's no real, I guess the state can try to come with it. Basically, we're getting this shut down that road. Down as far as hundreds and children get beheaded and whatnot.
Well, please God, that won't happen. But Brian, you're a genius because you just said something magical. Have you called the governor's office?
I got the number, and the local radio station was, promoting it, so they're getting flooded today, and I was going to call tomorrow. So
Excellent.
hopefully get through or something, because I heard that some people were saying that the governor's office, they couldn't get through because they're getting flooded right now. So I got the number, and I will be calling, and I know a couple of my friends are as well, because, at one point, it's just so sad, because, we want to draw a line in the sand, but, I haven't even put any faith in the national election, but
Do you have the phone number?
I don't know, it's just very frustrating.
Brian, do you have the phone number handy? Brian, do you have the phone number handy? Can you read it on the air? All right. That's okay. That's all right. I want to ask everybody. All right. In the meantime, I'm sure anybody who has access to a computer, Google the office of the governor of Colorado, call him up, and very frankly, give him hell. Give him the riot act. Tell him you don't want would-be terrorists coming into your state. You weren't asked. You weren't consulted. You weren't given a chance to vote. And you want him to stop it. And if he doesn't, his ass is grass. How's that, Brian?
Yeah, I think that's a great one. The name is taking over. I think his name is John. And he does the funny thing. He's a complete big Democrat. And I think, apparently his phone lines were bombarded today.
Excellent.
I was like, hold off and start calling them. I don't know when they're coming, but basically, we have to bombarded. It just can't happen because if it does, it's like shutting the fire after the system gone.
That's exactly right. That's precisely right.
We need more biometric identification, this and that. Take your guns, take everybody's guns. And it's the opposite of what we should be doing. Everybody should be, one for
Well, you're absolutely right. Do this. Since you didn't call today, take that, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes you would have spent on hold, and jot down a letter to your local newspaper, your local radio station, not this one because we get it already, the local TV station. Bombard them with letters to the editor. In fact, I would urge everybody, write to your local newspapers, your community papers, your big city papers, and tell them exactly how you feel. Make as much noise because it's the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. You definitely are one of the best. You took a little bit of time, and it does make a difference. I'll tell you, I do believe that things are coming to a crux, and I also believe that people are making up. I think on both sides of the aisle. I think Trump is good for that. I think Democrats and Republicans are both saying like, wait, like, there's a point. Political correctness can only go so far before you're sticking the dagger right in the heart and that's out.
Brian, I think you're absolutely right. You reach a point where too much is too much, and we reached that point years ago. The red light's been flashing for years already. This is not new.
Right. And when you listen to I didn't hear much of it, but when you listen to that Democratic debate, I mean, it's like, if they go on any longer, it's over. I mean, we'll have to disperse and hopefully keep some remnants of the Constitution, maybe other countries and stuff. But I mean, if it goes on, I don't even think that a decade before. I'm not saying it might be in America, but America that you especially grew up in. I mean, I'm a little bit younger than you, but the America that we knew is going to be kaput.
It'll be Kaputsky. All right, Brian, check back with me tomorrow after you've made the call. Let me know what your experience was, and have that phone number handy so we can share it.
I will hire it, and this is something called Justin. It'd be awesome to get to. I've always said this. It'd be awesome to get to in the Northern Colorado to talk to. I'm kind of busy and get up here.
Okay, I am available. Thanks for calling, Brian. Have a good one. Thank you very much to Brian for calling. Okay, let's go to this video. Megan Kelly, I think she's got Kersey Alley with her, talking about your favorite subject and mine and Brian's, Islam. Here we go.
And his enemy as radical Islam.
You see, my friends, here's the point that President Obama is making. Muslim terror has nothing to do with Muslims. And Islamic savagery has nothing to do with Islam. I mean, that seems pretty insane, actually. I didn't vote for it. We've got another caller on the line. Greetings, caller. What's your name?
Hey, this is Ron.
Hey, Ron. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I love your show.
Thank you very much.
I heard your best caller, and I wanted to go ahead and give you that phone number.
Oh, God bless you. What's the number?
303-866-2471.
All right, give me again. 303 866 2471. That's the governor of Colorado. Okay, and he's having auditions for people who can scream the loudest. There's some kind of prize, maybe. I don't know. Call up and give the guy hell. Have you called that number, Ron?
I did call. I called yesterday morning, and at that time I got right through. And I at that point, he hadn't expressed an opinion one way or another. I told him what I thought about the whole idea, and then of course I heard this morning that he's one of only, I think, maybe five cities that have actually said yes to Syrian refugees in Colorado. It happens to be one of those states. So I called this morning after the local radio station got given out his number, and I tried and finally got through.
Who'd you talk to? Who'd you speak to in his office?
Pardon me?
Who did you speak to in his office? One of his assistants? One of his press secretary? Who?
Yeah, one of the secretaries. She didn't identify herself.
Okay.
It wasn't the same one that I spoke to yesterday.
She wrote down your comment, yes?
Yeah, and I told her that I felt that if Governor Riell was so hell-bent on bringing in Syrian refugees, that he should build a camp across the street from the capital and house them there.
I love it. That's great.
And she said, I'll pass that along to the governor. I said, thank you.
All right, well, you know what? That's what you did is absolutely fantastic. If there are people out there who want to make signs and go march outside the governor's offices or mansion, I think that would also be a good thing. But even something as simple as doing what you did, making a phone call, expressing your opinion, that's huge, and I commend you for it.
Well, thank you. And one more thing.
Yep.
I love hearing Pat on the I hope and thankful for you introducing me to him. He's just a breath of fresh air every time he plays one of his videos.
Whose videos are you talking about?
Pat Condell.
Oh, Pat Condell. He's wonderful, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's the truth.
You know, I got to be careful with Pat Condell because in some of his videos, he uses a little salty language once in a while. So I got to make sure I listen to the whole thing before I put it on the air. But he calls a spade a spade. He presents facts. He presents truth. And he doesn't care who likes it. And that's why I like him. And that's why you like him.
That's right. I really appreciate it.
All right. Ron, thanks very much for calling, my friend. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great one.
Bye.
All right, guys, we'll get back to this video after the commercial break. We got 3 minutes left. Let me hit some more news item. From the Council of the European Union, headline, European Union, member nations hold moment of silence for victims of attacks in Paris. The moment of silence was held at 11 a.m. GMT, Mountain Time, which the Council of the European Union asked all member nations to observe. At least 132 people were killed, over 350 injured, unquote. My friends, this moment of silence that the European Union observed does a lot of good because it's really valuable because there's a lot of benefit to a moment of silence because now that I'm thinking about it, a moment of silence doesn't really do a damn, does it? It's really a waste of time, right? It's kind of like grandstanding and a publicity kind of photo op kind of thing. But as long as the Council of the European Union wants to help, hey, I'm guessing they listen to my show, so I am here for them. And I'm not even going to charge them a consulting fee. If the Council of European Union really wants to help, rather than holding a meaningless moment of silence, what might help is stopping the Muslim invasion into Europe, and by the way, the United States, in case anyone in D.C. is listening, begin killing industrial-strength numbers of terrorists, shutting the mosques, taking the oil fields in the Middle East as our possessions. Because the oil fields, as Donald Trump points out quite correctly, are what fuel and fund terrorism across the world. So we take away their oil. And then, just to round things out at the end, just to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, we demolish Iran and make sure it can't launch any weapon more deadly than a rock. And we tell the Muslim world that your plans for global jihad have officially ended. That's what leaders do. Or you can hold a moment of silence. Item from Fox News, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other top government officials could be detained if they step foot in Spain after a judge there issued an arrest warrant stemming from a deadly 2010 Gaza flotilla raid. Stop! My friends, I'm almost out of time. This is just anti-Semitism, pure and simple. All Israel does is defend itself, and so in the midst of a firestorm of Muslim hatred across the planet, of course, the leaders in Spain take time out to blame who? The Jews. We'll be back.
We know how the government is under control. For the point the people in it. How can we, the people, bring it back to the people's servants, not the people's masters? The Freedom Rider said, officials in government must be made accountable for their actions. Accountabilityrevolution.com
Revolution.com. Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies reminds everyone the chance of involvement in an auto accident rises dramatically with the consumption of alcohol or use of drugs. Please think before you drive. Don't let drugs or alcohol ruin your life or take the lives of others. You are responsible.
By the way, guys, I'm posting a ton of stuff on my Facebook page, Riell Truth Radio. That's Riell. Go there, enjoy it, share it, learn from it, and yes, take the time to send it to your local newspapers, your television stations. Bombard the media. It couldn't hurt. It cost nothing. Come on, really. And the people in the media, they don't really care about us, the average Americans, but they are somewhat responsive, and if they don't hear anything, then they really forget about us, so let them hear what you think. All right, back on radio silence. It's a technical term.
Well, custom catered capabilities is modest as emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law incurring the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15.
My friends, her name is Avon Hirsi Ali. She's pretty famous. She wrote a book called Heretic. She's a former Muslim. She was tortured by Muslims. She's left Islam, and now she's on Fox News. I'm going to play this video if it kills me. And here it is right now. Hirsi Ali talking to Megyn Kelly. Let's listen again.
Joining me now, Hirsi Ali. She is the author of the book Heretic and founder of the
My friends, stop for a second, please. We're talking about calling attention to the violent Muslims. Obama is saying if we do that, we're going to alienate the non-violent Muslims. Well, why do we give a rat's ass if we alienate the non-violent Muslims? If they're non-violent, who cares about them? Let them live and be well. We don't need to worry about them. But we do need to wage war on all fronts, including information and communications, with the violent Muslims, which between you and me is about 80% of Muslims in the world. Let's listen.
I think the president is right. The United States of America and the Western civilization is not at war with Islam. But Islamic extremism is Islamic theology and aided and abetted by some Muslim nations, the most eminent of which is Saudi Arabia, otherwise Qatar, are waging war on us. And this strategy from 9/11, that is indeed the former President Bush, but also
Right and wrong. Yes, the strategy is failing. The strategy is failing because you can't fight with one hand tied behind your back, which is what the West has been doing. It's not failing because we're blaming Islam, because Islam is to blame. Find yourself a copy of the Quran, my friends, or read any of the books of my several times guest Robert Spencer, or any of the websites out there. Go to jihadwatch.com, go to frontpagemag.com, read all about Islam, what their holy book says, what they believe Allah calls upon them to do: wage unceasing, barbaric war against all of humanity. That's Islam. Now, if she can't bring herself to say it, that's unfortunate. But she's only giving you half the truth. We're losing the war against the Muslim terrorists because we're not really fighting it. We're not really fighting it. We're certainly not fighting it intelligently. Here we go.
Over again, and we believed here in America, many, that if we wouldn't use that terminology and go back to the somewhere, perhaps they wouldn't need it. Perhaps they wouldn't want to hit it. Perhaps there'd be some impact with these people. And now that hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. Listen, one of the things that we really have to digest is that Islamic extremism is all over this cycle and the last one and 9/11. It is at least Sunni Islamic extremism is at least 95 to 98 years old. And it's going to outlast this election cycle. This is whose program is to stay with us. It's not what we do or say, what we don't do or we don't say. We have a substantial number of people on the planet who are Muslim, invoking Islamic theology, who have declared war on our way of life, the association of men and women, on our tolerance, on our freedoms, with the core on everything that Muslim civilization is. We need to acknowledge that and defend ourselves. And we're the first thing to do is not acknowledge that my chanting. We're not the anti-ideology, for instance. That's the thing, is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we call it or what we do. It's what they object to our belief system. They object to our way of life. They object to the fact that we don't necessarily believe in Allah, that we have the permanent and the Quran. They object to so much about who we are and the way we live. And so we will absolutely attack it. How we could, as a practical matter, go about protecting ourselves. The first thing in America was learn from Israel. Absolutely. Israel, from the time it was founded, had to deal with this.
Stop. There's a lot to be learned from Israel, both what to do and what not to do. Israel's very good at fighting terrorists, but they're fools because they're fighting terrorists. They needn't. All the terrorists, all the Palestinian Nazis they have in Israel should have been moved out a long time ago. Why on earth would you keep a rabidly hate-filled population numbering, what is it by now, a couple million? More, 2, 3 million? Why would you keep them within your borders? What kind of insanity moves the leaders of Israel to keep terrorists, millions of terrorists and terrorist supporters, within their bounds? It makes no sense. So yes, learn from the way Israel fights, but also learn that Israel should be beyond fighting because they should not have any terrorists left within their borders. We're coming up on the commercial. Let's listen to a little more.
And over time, and in a painful way, Israel has developed an infrastructure whose leader, who is counterterrorism measures, its intelligence. They know what they're doing. We should stop demonizing Israel. We should stop laughing at them. And on that analogy, Israel really hasn't declared war on Islam. Israel collaborates with some of the Muslim countries when they want to collaborate with Israel. But Israel is a place now where I think in terms of fighting domestic terrorism, they have made such headway that the scenes we've seen in the Middle East are unthinkable. Yes.
My friends, listen to me. Listen to me. Instead of fighting domestic terrorism, let's prevent domestic terrorism. Make sense? If you can avoid a fight, it's good to avoid a fight, right? So let's take the Muslims in our countries, in Israel, throughout Europe, in the United States, and move them elsewhere. Easy to do? No. Or are we only going to restrict our actions to things that are easy? Most of the time, it's the things that are hard that have the greatest payoff. And in this instance, all those people in Paris who were slaughtered or at least injured wouldn't have been harmed in the least because the people who want to kill them wouldn't be there. Let's take our Muslim populations and move them back to the Middle East. Not easy. Should have been done a long time ago. It's time to do it now. Why fight domestic terrorism when you can simply get rid of domestic terrorists? Make sense? All right, I've posted this video. I'm not going to go back to it again. Even I'm getting sick of it by now. I've posted it on my Facebook page, Riell Truth Radio. Go there, watch it, and share it. Lots of good stuff in it. And let's move forward before we hit the break any second. The conservativetreehouse.com. Dateline New Orleans. The first transport of refugees arrived in New Orleans recently and will be resettled in Louisiana and 180 other American communities. Unquote. My friends, you heard from our caller before. Some of those communities are in the great state of Colorado because Colorado has not slammed the door shut, locked it, and threatened anyone who attempts to open it. I recommend the great state of Colorado do exactly that. We'll be right back.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever thought about having your own backyard chicken?
Okay, my internet friends, I am all done. I'm going to be posting this in a few hours. Look for it, share it. By the way, call your governor wherever you're watching this. If you're watching in another country, call your local leaders, your state, municipality, region, whatever the hell you call it. Call them. Let your voice be heard. Contact the press in writing. Make a lot of noise. Make a lot of noise in any language you speak because if we don't, you know how that ends, right? I'll see you tomorrow. Hasta luego.